Hey guys, Gojira 851 here with the next film in the Godzilla franchise in the Showa series, Mosura Tai Gojira. Also translated as Mothra vs. Godzilla. Strangely, here in the United States it's known as Godzilla vs. the Thing. Yeah, it's just odd. So anyway, sure, once again, Godzilla Compendium, awesome book. So, what is this movie that we have here? Well, there is argument that this is a sequel to King Kong vs. Godzilla, and there is an argument that this is a reboot of the Godzilla franchise. You know, taking into consideration what happened in Gojira, but kind of ignoring Godzilla Raids Again and King Kong vs. Godzilla. I don't believe that. This is a sequel to King Kong vs. Godzilla, and we're going to go into that in just a little bit. So, our story begins with a massive storm. Huge winds, massive waves, blowing over everything, destroying parts of Japan. Yeah, that happened in real life a few years ago. I'm not glorifying what happened, but I'm just trying to give it scale what happened. I'm not glorifying the storm that happened. Wow, this turned really awkward real fast. Okay, so storm's over. The next day, a few energy concerned people show up with massive pumps, and they're pumping out the areas where it's flooded, where we meet two of our three main characters of the film. First is a no-nonsense reporter looking for the story, wanting to get the story done, joined by his photographer, who's also, you know, she's also very professional, but I don't want to say she has a naive kind of frame of mind, but, you know, she's a little more artistic. And they're looking over the destruction, and they find this very bizarre looking object. And can't really tell what it is, but they take it along with them, to see what's going on with it later. Come to find out, a couple minute drive down from where they are, there's a fishing port where all the fishing has just gone to crap. They're not catching a thing, but coming into the harbor is this. A massive egg. And they're like, well, what is it? What could have laid there? They're just like, what is going on? But they get assurance by the town elder that, don't worry, I prayed for your safety, and, this is a blessing. So they actually take the boats out, and they actually drag this massive egg out of the ocean. We should sign those all up for strongest men in the world. That is a massive egg to pull out of the ocean. But anyway, the reporter and his photographer, they show up, and they're taking pictures, and they see that there's a doctor there, a professor, and he is taking a look at it, the egg, when this very odd person comes up and cover the theme of this film. This man has apparently struck a deal with the fishermen of this little village and has purchased the egg, and doesn't want anyone scratching at it, taking samples and stuff like that. So they all have to pack up and they have to leave, and it's just the oddest thing. And this guy apparently represents the Happy Company. Yes, it's called the Happy Company. I'll go with it. Nearby where this egg is, there's a hotel. And the reporters and the doctor are in a room, they're talking about the egg, and they don't understand, what the big deal is, why this guy had to come in and buy it the way he did. When the corporate guy meets up with his other corporate buddy. And they're talking about the way how they can, what profits they could do. They can make a tourist attraction out of the egg. When we meet these two, the Shobijin, the representatives of Infant Island, and Mothra. The egg apparently belongs to Mothra. Earlier in the film, when the storm was kicking up, it apparently affected Infant Island and caused the egg to break free from the spot where it was. And it came to Japan. And they plead with the corporate guys. That's the subject back to this film. It's about corporate greed and how corporate greed can destroy you. So, I digress. They laugh it off, because saying, oh, you have the power of Mothra's attorney, and blah, 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 and they try to capture the Shobijin. They get away, they meet up with the reporters, and while all this is going on, the professor takes the object from earlier in the film and brings it to his lab. It makes a shocking discovery, calling in both the reporters, having them come to his lab, and actually he disinfects them because the thing that they found is highly radioactive. So they go back to the spot and where they found it in the first place, and they bring a radiation team there to, search the area. All of a sudden the earth starts to shake, and this guy comes. Oh yes, Godzilla rises from the earth. Glorious new music by Akira Ifukube. Gorgeous music. Godzilla shakes the earth from him, and he begins his rampage. Now, here's the problem that a lot of people have with this film, and I really don't. They say the reintroduction of Godzilla in this film is lackluster. They don't really think about it very much. I disagree, and this would prove that this is a sequel to King Kong vs. Godzilla. After the battle with King Kong, Godzilla stayed in the ocean around Japan, but didn't really do anything, probably weakened from his battle with King Kong. He didn't lose. It's a tie, okay? I can go into detail how it's a tie, but it was a tie. But anyway, Godzilla fell asleep underwater. Then when the storm kicked up, washed him shore with the rest of the ocean, and while the sand and the dirt moved around, it buried him. I guess after being moved around so much, this finally woke him up, and he goes on his rampage, destroying the nearby city and coming across a castle. A staple in the Godzilla film so far is this castle destruction scene. Fun fact, the castle that was built for this scene was built so well that the actor, Hiro Nakajima, who was inside of Godzilla, couldn't destroy the castle on his own. It was so sturdy. So as Godzilla's destroying it on screen, what you don't know is that there's actually a stagehand behind the castle helping push it over as well, which I don't have a problem with. I learned about that through this book. I don't mean to really spoil like the movie magic of things, but I just think it's very interesting. So Godzilla continues his rampage, and the Japanese government, is sending the military out. They're sending out planes, tanks, automobiles, guns, all this stuff, electrical towers, which oddly is actually having an effect on Godzilla in this movie. But Godzilla is still too powerful. And they see that Godzilla is heading towards the egg. Why is Godzilla heading towards the egg? Okay. Infant Island is home to a bunch of radiation tests, making the island almost uninhabitable. There are parts of the island that can be inhabited, but for most part, it's uninhabitable. Lots of radiation is there. My theory is that the egg absorbed some radiation, and the Happy Company. God, I gotta think of a better name for them. So anyway, the bad guys of the movie, they actually build a hatchery. Yes, a hatchery, and they're actually warming up the egg, trying to get it to hatch. So this is a drawing in Godzilla, and he's getting closer. So the reporters and the professor, they go to Infant Island to beg for Mothra's help. And at first the Shobi-gen are like, nah, you guys didn't help us when we need help, why would we help you? They're like, oh, come on, think of the children and stuff. So Godzilla comes to the egg, and he is looking at this egg like he wants to make some dinner or breakfast. I don't know, because it looks like a lot of time passes in between. Godzilla breaks it open, and he's about to eat the... Well, he doesn't break the egg. He breaks the hatchery. He's about to eat the egg, and then we get our first battle when the adult Mothra arrives and attacks with Godzilla. And battles with Godzilla. And this fight is actually very well put together. They use a lot of different techniques. Mothra is both hand puppet and full-size, not really animatronic, but, larger puppet, I guess. They use a suit acting with Godzilla, plus they made a new puppet for him as well. And the two battle. Godzilla unable to use his atomic breath because Mothra is just too fast. And then Mothra starts using this yellow powder. And, Godzilla, it looks like he's about done, but then he gets off one good atomic breath in nailing Mothra. And Mothra, is pretty damaged. She's able to get away from Godzilla, but then dies over the egg. And Godzilla, accepting this victory, moves on. Now, there's other problems. People say that, oh, why didn't Godzilla go and finish off the egg? Well, it's simple. Big dead body on top of it. Ruined his appetite. So he moved on. And here's something y'all are probably going to like. That I'm not going to make two videos to this because the only American thing that was changed, not only changed, added on to this film, is that the U.S. Army, or Navy actually, they see what's going on. And they actually send over some ships with frontier missiles and begin firing them at Godzilla along the beach. As the only scene that was really changed for the U.S. Release of this. And actually, I like the addition. It shows that Godzilla is becoming a much larger problem. He's becoming that unstoppable force of nature that everyone has to come together and try and stop him. But they don't, because Godzilla's too tough. Meanwhile, the chant that you hear, the Shobi-gen are actually chanting to the egg, while the people back on Infant Island, the islanders, are actually doing a prayer and a dance, interpretive dance, to the egg as well. Godzilla is continuing his attack as the egg cracks open, revealing two Mothra larvae. And they begin heading towards Godzilla to battle with him. While Godzilla goes to a small island, because he's just wandering around. They're making a big fuss that, there's people trapped on the island, teacher and some kids. I highly doubt Godzilla's going to the island to, go after some people, but whatever. It adds tension to the scene. When the two Mothra larvae actually meet up with Godzilla, and another fight begins. Godzilla being far too powerful for these two Mothra. So they actually, move around him and start using this stuff. Their silly string of doom, as I like to call it, but, one of them bites onto Godzilla's tail while the other uses the cocooning string, Eventually the two join together and they fire this silly string at Godzilla. Godzilla unable to, hit them with atomic breath. Actually interesting, melting several rocks with his atomic breath, showing how hot it gets. But the two Mothra larvae wrap up Godzilla in their silly string, and Godzilla falls into the ocean, defeated. Okay. So, that was Mothra versus Godzilla. What did I think about this film? When I was a kid, I really did not like this movie, because I didn't feel Godzilla should be beaten by anyone. This is a definite defeat, and I didn't like it when I was a kid. However, now that I'm an adult, I'm able to look at this a little more objectively. Godzilla was the villain of this film. And for Godzilla to continue doing his thing, he would have destroyed everything, and he needed to be stopped. The humans, with all of their technology, were not able to do it, but with Mothra and her sort of deity power, because she's a god in a way, her children were able to defeat Godzilla. Thus, the story ends with them leaving the island, going to Infant Island with the Shobijin on their back. So, as a review of this film, Godzilla is awesome. He looks great. The 64 suit has been dubbed the best suit in the Showa series. I don't know about that. It's really good, but I don't know if it's the best. Maybe it's the best in others' opinions. There's nothing wrong with having your own opinion with this, okay? But it's really good. It's almost perfect. Okay? The human characters in this film, they're all really enjoyable. Even the villains. I don't really have a problem with the villains. They're bad guys. They're meant to be bad guys. You're meant to dislike them. You're meant to not, root for them. And they make it pretty easy not to. In fact, when Godzilla kills them, yes, Godzilla kills them, he knocks back up. The one guy with the money shoots the happy guy with the strange mustache that he has. I'm not going to go into what it looks like, but the strange mustache that he has is trying to escape with the money, and Godzilla destroys the hotel, killing him. I was actually, ecstatic. Yes, the bad guys have been defeated by Godzilla. Yes, that's good. The supporting cast that's in there, a couple of returning actors from different Godzilla films are there, and more that we'll see in the future. Just good stuff. The music, awesome. Outstanding music by Haruo Nakajima returns as Godzilla. Okay. The music by Akira Ifukube is awesome. What else we got on my checklist? Retrospective. As a kid, once again I said, I didn't like this film. I saw this after I saw future Godzilla films, but I'll get into those, no spoilers, but yeah, I saw this movie when I think I was like maybe 6 when I saw this film, but yeah, I've grown to be a big fan of it. So, in the end, what do I give this film as my personal grade? I give this film an S. Oh yes, I give this film an S because of the amount of work that went into it. At first I really didn't like Mothra, but she's grown on me. So I give this film an S. Okay guys, this is Gojira A51. Next time we come back, we are going to be meeting perhaps Godzilla's largest villain ever. Well, not largest, but biggest. But we'll talk about that next time. Alright, it's Gojira A51 saying... Crap, 6 o'clock in the morning. Y'all have a good day. See y'all later.